Hey guys, Swanton 007 here, continuing my 2001 pay-per-view reviews. I'm going to continue straight from Backlash 2001, which I just finished, and we'll go on to it. Judgment Day 2001 started with Rikishi versus William Regal to start off the thing. It was really boring. People enjoyed the stink face and the dancing from Rikishi. So this was really just to get Rikishi out there and to warm the crowd up. Once again, Regal shows that he can win without that he can't win without brass knuckles. 1 star. Next match, and a continuation from the pay-per-view before, a 2 out of 3 falls match between Benoit and Kurt Angle. This was one of the best 2 out of 3 falls ever. Both men got cut open. The ladder match portion didn't really seem to suit these guys, but the second and third falls were tremendous. Oh, and don't worry, this is not the last you'll hear from Benoit this night. 4 stars. What are we looking at? We're looking at hardcore title match between Rhyno, Big Show, and Test. Rhyno was just starting to get a cult following here. Rhyno wins with an awesome gore on the Big Show. 2.25 stars. Next match, Women's Championship match between Chyna and Lita. It was a very good match. Chyna and Lita are 2 of the best women wrestlers in the business at this time. Chyna wins in a decent match. 2 stars. Next match, chain match for the IC title between Triple H and Kane. Triple H actually loses to Kane. Big pop for Kane though. The match was just a series of spots rather than a real match. 2 stars. Next match, number 1 contenders match for the World Tag Titles between the A.P.A, the Radicalz, Dudley Boyz, X Factor, Hardy Boyz, Edge and Christian, and Benoit and Jericho. This was a good tag match. Scary thing was that this wasn't even for the tag title gold. It was to see who the number 1 contender would be, and that was Benoit and Jericho. And a 3.25 star match. The main event of the night was a no-holds-barred match between Stone Cold and The Undertaker. This had a lot of peaks and valleys, thanks to the limitation of both guys. Austin had to learn how to be a heel in a post-attitude environment, and Taker was having a hard time doing anything outside of brawling. 3-star match. Overall, I believe I gave the pay-per-view a 6.75 out of 10. Then we move on. King of the Ring 01, sorry. King of the Rings are generally terrible pay-per-views, I've got to be honest. But this one really pulled something out of the bag. But I think this is normally they have the full thing on this pay-per-view, on one pay-per-view. This time they sort of separated it, some on Raw and SmackDown rather than just the whole thing. So it started off with a King of the Ring semi-final match between Kurt Angle and Christian. Good match, but I imagine they could have done much better once Angle turns full face, and so the crowd could get into it more. 3 stars. Then we had another semi-final match between Edge and Rhyno. Edge was not quite comfortable yet as a singles wrestler, and Rhyno was more of a brawler being forced to wrestle. 2 stars. The Tag Championship match of the night was the Dudley Boyz versus Spike and Kane. Standard Dudley Boyz match. Kane and Spike have some really good chemistry, with Kane almost always entertaining, teaming with someone smaller. There was a lack of heat for this match. The lack of heat for this match kept it from being anything good. 2.5 stars. Then there was the King of the Ring final between Kurt Angle and Edge. This match was ruined by Shane's interference on Kurt Angle and destroyed the whole purpose of the King of the Ring. Edge won and became King of the Ring, which sort of turned Edge and Christian against each other, which caused a rivalry between apparently the two brothers, which they weren't actually. They were just really good mates. 2 3/4 star match. Then the light heavyweight championship match between Jeff Hardy and A.P.A. It was a decent match, but not as good as you'd imagine they would have. Hardy wins with a swanton. Once again, I can't really help but feel as if the WWE doesn't know who they want to cheer for. 2.5 stars. Then there was a DDP Undertaker confrontation. Turns out the DDP is Sarah Stalker. That's about it. Then the best match of the night was between Shane McMahon and Kurt Angle in a street fight. A lot of people remember this match for the suplexes through the plexiglass, and I think it's one of the top couple matches of 2001. But there's really only 10 good minutes of Mirandering and botched spots before that. And even those spots were botched a couple times. It's still a fun, sick match with a lot of spots that make you cover your eyes. Mainly the ones where Kurt Angle jams suplexes Shane McMahon through a couple plexiglasses. I think he does try to do it 3 times. The first time he does it on the first one, he stuffs it. Second time he stuffs it. Third time he goes through. And then on the second one, first time stuffs it, goes through the second time. And then the third one he tries to put him through, he stuffs it, and then he just puts him through it. He got sick of it. So a 4.25 star match there in a straight fight between Shane and Kurt. Main event of the night was a triple threat match for the WWF Championship between Steve Austin, Benoit, and Jericho. This was really puzzling. These were some really puzzling booking decisions. For example, Booker T's ultimately futile interference to the tap out that wasn't to the crawling Austin pin. This match came off disappointing after some great singles matches between the three. It was a horrible match. It wasn't a horrible match, but it was one that could have been match of the year candidate, but only came off as pretty good. 4 stars. Overall, I gave the King of the Ring pay-per-view, because of those last 2 matches, I believe, and maybe a bit of the first one, 7.25. Out of 10. Oh god. Okay. So now, as we are about to start the invasion angle, as the last pay-per-view was the start of the invasion angle, we start with the Invasion 2001 pay-per-view. Starts off with Lance Storm and Mike Awesome. You don't really see Mike Awesome after this on pay-per-view. Versus Edge and Christian. Great opener, very fast-paced, and a great way to open the show. But it doesn't really show any cracks. It doesn't really show any cracks in the ENC team for when they rival later on next couple pay-per-views, which they really should have. They really should have shown like little cracks, like Christian or Edge doing something wrong. 3.25 stars. The next match was a complete bullshit match between Nick Patrick and Earl Hebner, the 2 referees. And it was a referee match with Mick Foley as the special guest referee. A waste of time and Mick Foley. A match that wasn't needed and worth nothing. N.A. The next match was a tag match between the A.P.A. and Chuck Palumbo. The A.P.A. versus Chuck Palumbo and Sean O'Hare. A.P.A. won when the younger guys should have been put over. It was a stupid result to a bad match. 1.5 stars. Next match, X-Pac versus Billy Kidman. The match was slow and disappointing. From what I heard, they were doing the exact same thing at house shows. 2.5 stars. Next match, Raven versus William Regal. A total clash of styles, shit match, a total waste of time. It had no chemistry and showed nothing at all. 1 star, and that's being generous. The next match, Big Show, Billy Gunn, and Albert versus Sean Statiste, I don't know, Chris Kayon, and Hugh Morris. Post-match, the WWF guys get their heat back immediately by chokeslamming everyone, thus making the result of this match secondary and not letting WCW guys get over at all. Average at best, but this whole event is about to get the Alliance over as a threat, but 50-50 booking never does. 1.5 stars. Next match, was against Taz and Tajiri. You never know. I guess I understand how the referee could allow this win when there is green. I never understood how the referee could let a match like this, like let someone win when there's green shit coming out of someone's mouth. And the other wrestlers covered all in it. Anyways, it's too short to be worth anything. 2 stars. Now, probably the best match of the night. Some people might argue it, but really, I think it's up there. Jeff Hardy versus RVD in a Hardcore Championship match. It was one hell of a match. It was just a huge spot fest, with both men taking some nice bumps. RVD selling his arse off, and both men hitting their big moves without screwing up any spots. That, my friends, is the match of the night. Probably, maybe not. They got the same rating, but, you know. But you really see how RVD was when he really gave a shit. Their matches do get much better, though, as you see in the ladder match next pay-per-view. 3 3/4 stars. Now, then there was a Divas match, or a women's match, in a bras and panties, with Mick Foley as the special guest referee again, between Tori Wilson and Stacy Keibler versus Trish Stratus and Lita. Garbage, crap, terrible, ridiculous. Any other bad words I can call it? 10 minutes of my life I'll never get back. Save time, type their names in Google, and oogle their boobs. Oogle their boobs, and move on with your life. Done. Now the main event of the night was a 10-man inaugural brawl match. Team WCW ECW had the Dudley Boyz, Rhyno, Booker T, and DDP versus Team WWF, the Brothers of Destruction, Chris Jericho, Kurt Angle, and Steve Austin. Really, this looks like what the final match should have been in the elimination match. Maybe with The Rock getting in there somewhere. Maybe, yeah, instead of Chris Jericho or Kane, there really should have been The Rock. That should have been your main event. Not what that shit they had at the end. Even though it was a good match, it was still shit. The booking was disgraceful. Why make Austin heel and not Jericho? Jericho was in WCW for a lot longer than Steve Austin, a lot more recently. The biggest waste of time and a surprise. But as a match, it was fairly decent. The heat segments were okay, but lacking some reason. The last 10 minutes were pretty badass though. 3 3/4 stars. Overall, I gave the Invasion pay-per-view a 6.75 out of 10. And guys, I'm a Swanton. Comment, rate, subscribe. Keep watching my reviews. Thank you.